Thought this would be a good time to look over Deep Skillets. I was up at Wally World in the sporting goods section, and they were selling large deep skillets. They're calling them chicken fryers, but nobody else wants to call them a deep skillet except Lodge actually uses those words. This is a number 8. It measures 10 1/4 inches across, which is exactly the same diameter as their most common frying pans, their Dutch ovens, and everything else. So the deep skillet chicken fryer doesn't come with a lid, so the lid off of one of my Dutch ovens fits right on it. I've got the Dutch oven that's that this lid came from is what I've got. I found a fry basket that fits in that. So when I fry chicken or fry fish, French fries, shrimp, whatever I'm doing hot oil frying in, that's what I use. The Dutch oven. Just dedicate one for greasy. But for the most part, deep skillets. I've got these 3, and I've got 2 more that are in my rotation for using in the kitchen. They're I've used them for over 25 years, and I don't think I've cooked chicken in them once. They're called chicken fryers, but I have never cooked chicken in them. So there. I'll get this out of the way. This one there's some discussion on the collecting sites as to when this is made and by who. There's a company called Favorite. They operated out of Pica, Ohio, and they made Favorite cookware or Favorite Picaware, and they went bankrupt in 1933. And their entire company was purchased outright. Everything, their inventory, their machine tools, their patterns, their intellectual property, the designs, and everything was purchased outright by a company called Chicago Hardware Foundry, or CHF. There was a transition period before CHF started making their own stuff. CHF is famous for their hammered, the cast iron that's got dents all over it. It's called the hammered cast iron. It's not hammered, but that's the design that they cast into the surface. CHF is famous for their hammered cast iron, but before they got their ball rolling down the alley that they wanted it to. They just used things that came from Favorite Pika. So this is the Diamond series pans are the crossover period between Pika, Favorite Pika, and CHF. And that's like arguing whether the pickup truck is a GMC or a Chevrolet. You know, it's people will argue with you. Oh no, it's not a Chevrolet. It's a GMC. Well, you know, they're both General Motors. One of them just has a little bit more chrome on it. So, you know, that's the difference between a Chevrolet and a GMC pickup. So, anyway, that's a collectible. It's cleaned up. It's ready to use. I don't use it because I don't want to risk damage to it because they don't make them anymore. CHF isn't in business anymore either since about the 1970 time frame. So they might be in business to make other things, but they don't make cookware anymore. Let's change things around a little bit. This is made by Lodge. It's called a combination cooker. And they at different times in their history, Lodge has made a combination cooker. They sell one today. New manufacturer combination cooker. But at different times in their history, they called this at different things. At one time, they made one of these called the 4-in-1, and this is actually the lid. And when you flip the lid over, there was a big double cross, almost like the Griswold logo, sort of. And then it said 4-in-1 across the bottom, or the numbers 4. Anyway, it says 4-in-1. It's because this pan can be used 4 different ways. It's a deep skillet, so it can be used as a chicken fryer. The lid is a frying pan. That's 2. Deep skillet, frying pan. And I'm gonna miss the 4th one because I can't quite remember it. But the 3rd one is that it can be used as a Dutch oven, because flipped over with the top pan flipped over, using it as a lid, there's a flat surface on the top that you can stack your coals on the top here and use it as a Dutch oven. And I can't think of the fourth way right now. If I remember it, I'll put it in the comments. But yeah, you can use this pan 4 ways. And the more that I'm using cast iron, the more that I actually like using deep skillets outdoors, on the grill, over coals, over a grate, over a fire. I actually like using deep skillets outdoors more than I do Dutch ovens. For the reason is the handle. And when you're dealing with a pot full of food, these will hold over a gallon of stuff. I use them mostly for stews and chilies, and when you get more than a gallon of chili, it's heavy. So having the tab to put one hand under, and then having a handle to control it is very, very convenient. So I did some trading. I made a comment in a Facebook group that I've always been looking for one of these, and they were never to be found in this area. People in this general area just didn't use saucepans. But further south, they did, and further east, they did. So people in those directions, they see these fairly often, but I've never seen one here. So I was mentioned that I was just about ready to buy one, buy a Asian-made cast iron pan off of Amazon and just have it sent here, because I just can't get there from here without paying crazy retail prices. So some guy popped up and said, "Yeah, I got one, and I'll trade with you. What do you have?" So I pulled an old rusty trusty pan out and said, "How about this?" Sent him a picture, and he says, "Yeah, I'll take that." So he sent me this, and I'm just happier than happy with it right now. I need to do some cleaning on it, and I need to season the lid, but that's all real minor stuff. Thinking about taking this, I'm going outdoors someplace tomorrow, so I'm thinking about making a little fire and making some popcorn in my... This is made by a company called Birmingham Stove and Range, or BSR. It's a 2-quart. It's a 2-quart saucepan. And the one thing that I know about it is that it's a 2-quart saucepan, and it was made before 1960, because it doesn't have a stamp for country of origin. Cast iron made after 1960 is stamped Made in USA. So that's a plus. Birmingham Stove and Range was in production until the early 1990s. There's a gray, shady area as to when they actually went out of business, because the EPA went to Birmingham and told them that their foundry was creating too much pollution, and they needed to completely redo all of their manufacturing facility for cast iron and make it air friendly. So they couldn't make that kind of investment, so they made a deal with Lodge, and at the toward the end, they Lodge was manufacturing all of Birmingham Stove and Range production. So toward the end, there's a real gray area as far as, well, were they really making cast iron if Lodge was doing the work for them? So after about like 88, 89, it's a real gray area. I think they finally got all the paperwork done for their bankruptcy, and Lodge assumed all of their product lines in like 1991. But BSR was one of the last cast iron manufacturers to operate in the U.S. Now the only mass production cast iron cookware company is Lodge. There's a few small scale cast iron pan makers, but their prices are god awful expensive. So yeah, good luck buying one of those. I heard that the products are good, but they're just too expensive to even consider, for me anyway. There's a few people on that have them. They're stop sign shaped. They're called Fin X, I believe I said that right. And the people that own them seem to like them, but someday when they're used in yard sale items, maybe I'll own one. But in the meantime, I like my old American iron. Alright, we're out of here.